The Book for Joe. Introduction. The exact date of the Book of Joe is difficult to know, as it does not refer to the reign of any particular king. The specific occasion of the book, however, is very clear, and Joe uses the occasion to deliver a powerful spiritual message. The book begins by graphically describing how the swarm of locusts have overrun the land of Judah had eaten everything inside. After calling for the people to repent, in response to this disaster, the book offers a detailed description of the locust swarm itself. The locusts are like an invading army with a gun at their head. Joe asserts that the day of the Lord, the day of judgment, has come. He renews his call for repentance through fasting, community prayer, and heartfelt contrition. In response, he promises that God will not only drive the locusts away, but restore more than they have devoured. He foretells God's defeat of all the nations that oppose his people, and how God will pour out the Spirit on the survivors in Judah. If the people return to the Lord with all the hearts, they will see the return of the prosperity when the day of the Lord arrives. Chapter 1. The word of the Lord that came to Joel, son of Pethuel, an invasion of locusts. Hear this, you elders, listen, all who live in the land. Has anything like this ever happened in your days, or in the days of your ancestors? Tell it to your children, and your children tell it to their children, and their children to the next generation. But the locust swarm had left, the great locusts have eaten. But the great locusts have left, the young locusts have eaten. But the young locusts have left, other locusts have eaten. Wake up, you drunkards, and weep. Wail, all you drinkers of wine. Wail, because the new wine had been snatched from your lips. A nation has invaded my land. A mighty army without number. It has the teeth of a lion, the fangs of a lioness. As laid waste my vines, ruined my fig trees, and stripped off their bark and threw it away, leaving the branches white. Mourn like a virgin in sackcloth, grieving for the betrothed of her youth. Grain offerings and drink offering are cut off from the house of the Lord. The priests are in mourning, those who minister before the Lord. The fields are ruined, the ground is dried up, the grain is destroyed, the new wine is dried up, the olive oil fails. Despair, you farmers. Wail, you wine growers. Grieve for the wheat and the barley, because the harvest of the field is destroyed. The wine is dried up, and the fig tree is withered. Pomegranate, the palm, the apple tree, all the trees of the field are dried up. Surely the people's joy is withered away. A call to lamentation. Put on sackcloth, your praise, and mourn. Wail, you who minister before the altar. Come, spend the night in sackcloth, you who minister before my God. For the grain offerings and drink offerings are withheld from the house of your God. Declare a holy fast. Call a sacred assembly. Summon the elders and all who live in the land to the house of the Lord your God, and cry aloud to the Lord. Alas, for that day, for the day of the Lord is near. It will come like a destruction from the Almighty, from the Almighty. Has not the food been cut off from our very eyes? Joy and gladness from the halls are gone. The seas are shriveled beneath the claws. The storehouses are in ruins. The granaries have been broken down, for the grain has dried up. And the cattle mourn, hold the cattle mourn. The herds mill about because they have no pasture. Even the flocks of sheep are suffering. To you, O Lord, I call, for fire has devoured the pastures in the wilderness, and flames have burned up all the trees of the field. Yet the wild animals pant for you. The streams of water have dried up, and fire has devoured the pastures in the wilderness. Chapter 2. The army of locusts. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm on my holy hill. Let all who live in the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming, is close at hand. A day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and blankness, like a dung spreading across the mountains. A large and a mighty army comes, such as never was in ancient times, nor never ever will be in ages to come. Before them, fire devours. Behind them, a flame blazes. Before them, the land is like the Garden of Eden. Behind them, a desert waste. Nothing escapes them. They have the appearance of horses. They gallop along like cavalry, with a noise like that of chariots. They leap over the mountain tops, like a cracking fire, consuming stumble, like a mighty army dried up for battle. At the sight of them, nations are in anguish. Every face turns pale. They charge like warriors. The skilled warriors like soldiers. They all march in line, not swerving from the course. They did not jostle each other. Each marched straight ahead. They plunged through defenses without breaking ranks. They rushed upon the city. They run along the wall. They climb into the horses like a thief. They enter through the windows. Before them, the earth shakes. The heavens tremble. The sun and moon are darkened. The stars no longer shine. The Lord thundered the head of the army. His forces are beyond number, and mighty is the army that obeys his command. The day of the Lord is great, is dreadful. Who can endure it? Rend your heart. Even now, declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, with fasting and weeping and mourning. Rend your heart and not your garments. Return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and abounding in love. And he relents from sending calamity. Who knows? He may relent, leave behind the blessing, grain offerings, and drink offering for the Lord your God. Blow the trumpet in Zion, declare holy fast, call a sacred assembly, gather the people, consecrate assembly, bring together elders, gather the children, those nursing in the breast. Let the bridegroom leave his room, and the bride her chamber. Let the priests who minister before the Lord weep within the portico and the altar. Let them see, spare your people, Lord. Don't make your inheritance object of scorn, a byword among the nations. Why should they see among the peoples? Where is their God? The Lord's answer, that the Lord was jealous for his land and took pity on his people. The Lord replied to them, I'm sending you grain, new wine, and the olive oil, enough to satisfy you fully. Never again will I make you an object of scorn to the nations. I will drive the northern horse far from you, pushing it into a parched and barren land. Its eastern ranks will drown in the Dead Sea, and the western ranks in the Mediterranean Sea, and its stench will go up, its smell will rise. Surely he has done great things. Do not be afraid, land of Judah. Be glad and rejoice. Surely the Lord has done great things. Do not be afraid, you wild animals, for the pasture in the wilderness are becoming green. The trees are bearing the fruit. The fig tree and the wine yield the riches. Be glad, people of Zion. Rejoice in the Lord your God, for he has given you the autumn rains because he is faithful. He sends you abundant showers, both autumn and spring rains, as before. The threshing floors will be filled with grain. The vats will overflow with new wine and oil. I'll repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the green locust and the young locust, the other locust, the locust swarm. My great army that I send among you, you will have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be ashamed, that you will know that I am Israel, and I'm the Lord your God, and there is no other. Never again will my people be ashamed. The day of the Lord. And that word, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. Even my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirit in those days. I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, the fire, and billows of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. For among Zion and in Jerusalem there will be deliverance. And the Lord has said, in one of the survivors whom the Lord calls. Chapter 3, the nations judged. In those days, and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all the nations and bring them to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land. They cast lots for my people and treated boys for prostitutes, they sold girls for wine to drink. Now, what have you against me, Tyre and Sidon, and all your regions of Philistia? Are you repaying me for something I have done? If you are paying me back, I will swiftly and speedily turn on your own head what you have done. For you took my silver and my gold and carried off my fine treasure to your temples. You sold the people of Judah and Jerusalem to the Greeks, that you might send them far from their homeland. See, I'm going to roll them out the places to which you sold them, and return on your own heads what you have done. I will sell your sons and daughters to the people of Judah, and they will sell them to the Sabeans, a nation far away. The Lord has spoken. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for war. Roll the warriors. Let all the fighting men join you in attack. Beat your plowshare into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weakling say, I am strong. Come quickly, all your nations from every side, and assemble there. Bring down your warriors, Lord. Let the nation be roused. Let them advance into the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the nations on every side. Sway the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, trample the grapes, for the winepress is full, and the vats overflow. So great is their wickedness. Multitudes in the wonderful decision. For the day of the Lord is near. In the wonderful decision, the sun, moon will be darkened, and the star no longer shine. The Lord will roar from Zion and thunder from Jerusalem. The earth and the heavens will tremble, but the Lord will be a refuge for his people, a stronghold for the people of Israel. Blessings for God's people. Then you will know that I, the Lord your God, dwell in Zion, my holy hill. Jerusalem will be holy. Never again will foreigners invade her. In that day the mountains will drip new wine, and the hills will flow with milk. All the ravens of Judah will run with water. A fountain will flow out of the Lord's house and will water the wonderful acacias. But Egypt will be desolate, Edom a dead waste, because of violence done to the people of Judah, in whose land they shed innocent blood. Judah will be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem through all generations. Shall I leave the innocent blood unavenged? No, I will not. The Lord dwells in Zion.